going on to explain the difference between good kit and bad kit. For me, this started because a couple years ago we ordered custom kits for our team, and kid is a kid, it's all the same stuff. Oh man, was I wrong, because that stuff came and it was a long season of wearing really uncomfortable kit. So then that really got me thinking, like, what is the difference between good and bad? So in my mind, I think it's a lot to do with the details of the sleeves, the leg grippers, and the way the chamois forms to your body. I think that has a lot to do with it. So if you want to learn more about what makes a good kit and a crappy kit, stay tuned to this episode. And Richard is the man responsible for a clothing brand called Crit Fit Army. Super excited to have Richard on the show. He is based in Wisconsin. He's done some great work in designing his kits. And what better expert to talk to about kits and bibs and jerseys and what to look out for when you buy them than someone who makes these things and is clearly a passionate bicycle racer as well. So, Richard, thank you for joining me on the show. I appreciate your time. How are you?
Yeah, doing awesome. Thank you, Brian. More than happy to be on and try to help out and answer some questions here. So,
what are the things that I should tick off the box that I want to be paying attention to?
You know, honestly, I think first and foremost, probably one of the first things you need to do is make sure you like what you're buying. If you buy something that you just don't like, you're really not going to wear it. And then that's going to kind of hinder your riding. If you don't feel like you're looking good on the bike, you're not going to feel good on the bike. You're just not going to ride. But secondly, one of the biggest areas I always look for in the kit and how we manufacture stuff is primarily actually in the chamois. So all of our kits, pretty much about 15 to 20% of our cost goes into the actual chamois of the kit. When you think of an overall price structure, I mean, that's where you're spending 90% of your ride is kind of on your bum there on the saddle. And that's the only thing that cushions you between that. In my personal opinion, that's where I'd like to start with.
Walk me through like this really basic chamois and what I might see on a more advanced or more expensive chamois.
So a lot of your baseline chamois, one of the big words you're really going to get thrown around is density. So a lot of chamois are made out of different foams, different densities, some different materials, and the way they line them up is going to be very anatomically correct to the individual. I guess I do want to say this to avoid are gels. Gels really create condensation and they end up causing chafing within the body and you get your saddle sores, everything like that. The foams, a lot of times they dissipate that sweat and moisture a lot better and more effectively. Higher end chamois is always going to have multiple densities, and they're going to be put in different areas, so different thicknesses, primarily into the sit bones, as you work your way out towards kind of the extremity of the chamois. Maybe on the inner part of the leg, it's going to be a very thin microfiber, so it's going to be a very smooth, non-abrasive finish that's just going to ride very smoothly on the body. It's designed to also fit anatomically to it. So if you can see kind of the one you've got here in the video, it's not just going to lay flat like a diaper, which a lot of people think of.
Yeah.
The higher end chamois are going to be anatomic. They're going to be form-fitting. They're going to have certain contours and stitching, and it's designed to just fit on the body as if it's one with it.
Right. So I see that. That's interesting you're saying that because I see that stitching they put here. This would be on the front crotch where they put that stitching to give it just the right amount of fold they're looking for it to taper in. And then I'm seeing, when you were talking about density, I'm squeezing the foam on the higher end chamois that I have in my hand and then the lower end chamois, and you can totally instantly tell the difference between good and bad in these two things. So that's kind of, it's funny. I never picked up on that. So if you're in a bike shop, you pick up two, you can instantly tell the difference, and then you get a better clue of what you're looking for. How does that make you faster, right? Well, if you're willing to spend an extra 15 minutes on your bike per week or an hour or 5 hours, whatever it is, if you're feeling comfortable and feeling fresh, you get more training time. That makes you faster. So that's one way to get faster. The other part that I find when our team switched to a cheaper kit is the jersey was much baggier and it got just tons of this going on in the back. And then
Sure.
The sleeves were just awful to look at. They're all bunched up and they just looked horrible. Now on my higher end stuff, I get a nice flat sleeve. I get a much tighter form. I don't get any of this neck flap stuff. So what are the things to look out for in there?
I'd say that's probably more so where the paneling comes from, but also a mixture of the materials used, so the fabrics. Our high-end gear, we use primarily all Italian, some Swiss fabrics in there, but with that, you're going to get compression, you're going to get four-way stretch, you get all these different characteristics, and depending on how we line that up on the kit and the way in which we cut certain things, creates either a form-fitting kit or a second skin, or we're going to give it stretch in a certain area, or really whatever that kind of boils down to. Say like the front of the body, we don't want the zipper in that fabric to kind of bunch up and get all kind of, I don't know, look like a scrunchie. Very smooth compression fabric on the front so that when you do bend over, it's going to lay flat against you. It's not going to bunch up on you. The way I'm going to cut that fabric, I might move it up a little bit more higher. So again, it's a little less material, but that allows you to fit and form better onto that bike. The sleeves, one of the biggest things we do is instead of starting the paneling up in the top of the shoulder and running one straight kind of section down, we're going to actually have it where it's like a vest that has sleeves sewn onto it. Again, now I'm separating two different fabrics in that kind of case point there, where I'm have a compression fabric on that body, holding everything in nice and tight in those areas where you have a lot of movement, a lot of bunched up fabric to try to cut down on that wind resistance, but then have a completely different fabric over the arms. So something that might just fit smooth, or it has better ventilation to it, or I can put laser cut kind of edging on it. So with that, you're going to get the nice crisp tan lines. It's not going to ride up on you. It's just going to lay nice and flat. So that's another thing to really look at then is your stitching and how are you combining those fabrics together. I could lay two fabrics over each other twice and just put a serger right through it. Great. It's going to get it done really quick. That's what you're going to see in a lot of the lower end kits. But now you have this big kind of gunky, I don't know, line right through the middle of the kit, where if I can lay two very seamless fabrics together, put a single stitch through it and lay it flat, it's going to look better on the body, it's going to feel better on the body, it's not going to be kind of a stress point or pain point for you then too. So those are other areas that we look at when we're building a kit and laying out a template and putting all of our panels together.
So that leads me to a question too I have about the leg gripper. So this was the cheaper kit that we didn't like a couple years ago, and I noticed what they did, I think, is similar to what you're saying. They just double the fabric over and do the serge seam. And what I noticed with this kit was a couple different things. One, it wasn't form fit, so it would rattle around on my leg. So you get what you pay for. So I guess I got what we paid for. But the other thing I noticed is that when I was done riding, this big seam would just create quite a bit of pressure. You could just see the pressure on my leg, that's where the blood was being affected by this sleeve. But on the higher end kit now, I'll show you that one. Now we have a much flatter seam, and then we have a different fabric. I think kind of what you were talking about on the arms too. It's a totally different fabric. It does a different function. It's got a little bit of tackiness to it for a grip, and it's significantly more comfortable. Huge difference. Can you shed a little bit of light into your story and how you got from point A to point B?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Brian, kind of as we talked about earlier, I started racing bikes in college, UW Whitewater. It seemed like we would have to get these custom kits to kind of compete in the collegiate circle, and whether we just didn't have enough people to buy the kits we needed, or after buying $1,000 road bike, we still had to buy a $150, $200 kit, and it just seemed to fall apart on us right away. So we kind of had this huge just ordeal of being stuck in this loop. And honestly, we were down. We made some good friends in collegiate cycling with some of the guys down at Auburn. So we were down there one spring break doing like a training camp, and the idea kind of came up, like you said, well, what if we found something that didn't have the marketing cost associated with it, and what could we do with it? That first year we threw around just a bunch of different ideas, whole kind of caveat of, well, what do we do? What is our market, differentiator? What's our value-added proposition? How are we going to fund this thing? Who are our customers going to be? So there's a lot of just trying to figure it all out. One day we kind of all just sat down and said, you know what? Let's just build a company that we want to actually buy something from. Let's build a company that we want to be a part of. We saw ourselves as like underdogs. We weren't on a team. We all wore different kits, but we'd go out and we'd still just help each other out, do the best that we could. We hunted down every preem that we could find. We didn't care if we won the race because our reward was just a good beer at the end of the thing. So we're a veteran-owned and operated company, and it all just seemed kind of to jive together. mean, honestly, I don't think you think of many veterans as cyclists, but it's just a great form of fitness. It's a great form to get away and detach from life. There's some great kind of groups starting and founding themselves. We have like Project Echelon right down the road. So it's awesome to see more veterans getting involved in the community. And we just kind of want to start to position ourselves in an area where we're going to be at the forefront of getting more vets on bikes.
That's awesome. Wash, dry, don't wash, hang dry, use the gamma rays from the sun. What should I do with these magical fabrics to make sure that they don't get ruined?
I'm probably the worst person to ask because I throw my cycling kits in the washer and dryer every time.
That's what I do too.
I don't have much time.
I don't have any ill effects from that either. Mine are, but every time I tell people that my deep dark secret that I put it in the dryer, everybody's like, "Oh, don't do that." I'm like, I don't understand why we can't do that. So
it was the best form of quality assurance for us. If we could throw one of these kits in, wash it 10 times in a row, and the ink sublimation's still good, nothing's falling apart, the elastic hasn't worn out, chances are we got pretty good quality stuff coming out of it. Having said that, though, if you want the official answer, they do all recommend hand washing with cold water and just simple soap. Non-abrasive kind of scrubbers or anything like that. Just primarily use your hand, but wash it and then air dry it. So
that's awesome. All right, well, I'm glad you answered that way, because I always feel like I'm doing something wrong when I bring this conversation up, which is really a huge part of this channel's mission, is to dispel these little deep dark secrets and grow our sport, grow our knowledge, and grow our fitness. So now, I was just on your website after you mentioned where to find you, and the first thing that slapped me in the face was your headline right now says crash replacement. What? How does that work? That's insane. I've never heard of that. You got to tell us, how does that work?
For us, again, wanting to build a lifestyle brand and really build a good customer basis and have lifelong customers, we started talking to ourselves and saying, hey, if you're out there giving it something or giving it your all, whatever it is, and you happen to hit the deck, we want you to come back and get another kit from us. So we kind of drew up this crash replacement program. And honestly, even as a racer, it's awesome. I don't know how many kits I've destroyed that I've put good money into, and you're out a kit now. So really what we're trying to do with the program is, if you can provide just proof of purchase, give us a little synopsis of how it happened, pictures of the kit, we'll give you a code for 40% off a replacement one of equal or greater value. And that's how we're running with it. So
I love it.
New for this year. We're really looking forward to it and hoping people take advantage of it. Just don't seriously hurt yourself, but if it happens...
Race fam, if you are not jumping on that CritFit website to purchase a kit, I don't know what's wrong with you, because you are not going to find a piece of insurance like that for these kits. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Thank you again for joining us. And if people want to find your stuff, where should they find you and your equipment?
So you can either just go right to our website. It's either critfitarmy.com or critfitcycling.com. Either the two will work out for you. We're always going to have a stocked cooler of beer. So if you're of age, swing on down. We partnered with a veteran coffee brand this year, so we're going to try to have some thermoses with coffee and stuff like that out there as well. We want to make, again, a lifestyle brand, something that you want to show up with, you want to hang out with. You're not going to feel pressured to buy our stuff. But at the end of the day, you're going to feel awesome about it and try to help promote us, and say, hey, these guys are cool.
Man, I love what your company stands for. I love your evolution of the company. I love that just the entrepreneur part of me. Not everyone knows this, but I teach entrepreneurship at a local college. And you'd be shocked how many people come to me with this big idea and they never think about the things that you thought about. Like, who is our customer? Why are we designing this? What's our value proposition? What makes us special and unique? So it's not surprising to me that you're on a positive trajectory. So, and thank you for bringing the beer and the coffee to the races. You will definitely my shiny face there. Jump on their website, buy some stuff, support a Wisconsin company, support a veteran, support a small business entrepreneur, support somebody that's going to bring beer and coffee to the race. Richard, can't thank you enough. Thanks for jumping on the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.